Welcome to something to talk about.
Yeah, really loud.
Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. This is a very special episode. It was the episode where I realized that I could cover Lyn Corbray. Like, he's not that big of a character. Like, the fandom really likes him. He seems like that big of a character, but he's only in a couple chapters, few scenes. I mean, his wiki buys and fire is short, man. And yeah, so I'm covering Lyn Corbray. I am pumped. I know that he's a fan favorite, and I'm excited. I'm excited to cover him. The most dangerous man in the Vale. And also I covered Marillion earlier this week, so I was writing these two videos simultaneously. So I just got to re-listen to all these Vale chapters, and man, it was cool to like take a trip back to the Vale. You know, it's kind of an underrated. You don't get to go there too much in the books, you know. Like Elaine hangs out there a lot, Sansa, but she doesn't have a bunch of chapters in the later books. So it was cool to just like follow Tyrion back there, watch those scenes, and then do all the Lore's Declarant stuff. Man, all right, cool. We'll get to all that. What is going on here? My name is Taco, and I do this. Pause it. Read it. You back? Back. All right, cool. Let's get into Lyn Corbray. Okay. Lyn Corbray is a knight from House Corbray who wields Lady Forlorn, a sword of Valyrian steel. He is the heir of his elder brother, Lord Lyonel Corbray of Heartshome. Lyn is a thin man. He is handsome, but vain. He thinks that that song's about him, the "You're So Vain" song. Reckless and hot-tempered. He has shoulder-length brown hair. Lyn is often short of money, and it is said that Lyn is notoriously uninterested in women. All right. That makes sense. He's a handsome man, but he's not into them ladies. And also he's really, really a dangerous folk. I think there's just something about House Corbray that's just super cool, and like Lyn Corbray just comes off like super cool and dangerous. Let's talk about House Corbray. So House Corbray of Heartshome. See the sigil. Oh my god, it's all just so great. Is a noble house from Heartshome in Vale of Arryn. It is an old but poor house. The ancestral Valyrian steel longsword of the Corbrays is a Lady Forlorn, and their sigil is 3 black ravens in flight holding 3 hearts on white. The Corbrays were an Andal house during the coming of the Andals to Westeros, thousands of years ago. Corwin Corbray, great name, conquered the Fingers by defeating House Brightstone and House Shell, claiming for himself the title of a Lord of the Five Fingers. When the first men began to unite against the Andals, King Robar II Royce slew Kyle. Do we want to call that Kyle? All right. Kyle Corbray, King of the Fingers. Sorry, I dropped my mouse. The Corbrays claim that Sir Jaime Corbray killed Robar in the the Battle of the Seven Stars. Lady Forlorn, let's talk about that, is an ancestral longsword of House Corbray. Lady Forlorn has a heart-shaped ruby for its pommel. That's super cool. The Valyrian steel of its blade is a smoke gray in appearance. The name Lady Forlorn is a legacy from the coming of the Andals and predates the current sword. It's kind of like ice, right? Like the Starks had like the sword Ice way back in the day, and it was just called Ice, and it was like their ancestral sword. And then later, when they got a Valyrian steel sword, they called it Ice, like a legacy thing. Right? Okay, so now we're gonna get into the story of good old Lyn. Sir Lyn won his knighthood during Robert's Rebellion. At the start of the war, like many Vale houses, he fought for House Targaryen with Lord Mark Grafton against Lord Jon Arryn at the gates of Goldtown. After Jon put them loyalists down, Lyn was pardoned and he joined against the rest of the Targaryens. Yeah, Ned was like the only guy who didn't have to do this, right? Like Robert and Jon Arryn, when right when Robert's Rebellion started, it wasn't called Robert's Rebellion yet, but right when it started, they went home. They, they called their banners, right? And some people showed up and some people didn't. And the ones who didn't, they had to go and squash the rebellion of the loyalists. That's a weird redundancy, right? The rebellion of the loyalists. So Jon Arryn had to do that here. So, yeah. At the Battle of the Trident, so Lyn was with them at this point. Lyn's father was badly wounded. In the confusion, Lyn took up the family's Valyrian steel sword, Lady Forlorn, and distinguished himself by leading an assault on the Dornish lines. He personally finished off the wounded Prince Lewin Martell of the Kingsguard. Honoring Lyn's achievements on the battlefield, his father, who was still alive, just horribly wounded, bequeathed him of Lady Forlorn upon his death. I'm dying. You can keep the sword. Dude, am I your heir? No. You just keep the sword. Lyonel will get everything else. Ah, shucks. His elder brother, Lyonel, inherited the rest of the family estates. He told you, and titles. But still resented the loss of the family blade. Come on, Lyonel, you got everything else. You weren't close enough. I just like the idea of like their father died and the sword's going, and Lyonel's like, I'm gonna pick up the sword. I'm the heir. It's my sword. And then like Lyn's like, not today, bro. He like picks it up and distinguishes himself. Lyonel's like, dude, I was right there. Too bad. Sucks to be you. Tyrion's Trial. Wow, we're jumping ahead. Upon the death of Jon Arryn. Whoa. All right, now we're getting into the first book. Secretly killed by Lysa and the not-so-big finger. You know what I mean, ladies. Sir Lyn is one of Lysa's many suitors. His squire, Michael Redfort, the gallant dude that took Maya Stone's virginity. I don't know why I put that in. Just to remind you guys who Michael Redfort is. And that's his squire. Lyn attends the trial of Tyrion Lannister at the Eyrie, and when Tyrion demands a trial by combat, the scene is so good. Is this how justice is done in the Vale? I get to talk about it 2 times this week. Love this scene. If you haven't re-listened to or reread the Vale chapters, they're so good. Well, all these books are good, but this chapter is really good. All right. When Tyrion demands a trial by combat, the court laughs. A young knight from House Linderly, I think. They just say the one with snakes. So I think that's Linderly. Calls out first, followed by Eon Hunter and Elbar Royce. Then Lyn offers himself as champion, saying the gods favor the man with the just cause, yet often turns out to be the man with the surest sword. We all know who that is. He's like, guys, I'm the best. Let me just do it. He says it with a modest smile. But there was nothing modest about that smile. A dozen more knights call out at once, but they are rebuffed. They are all rebuffed by Lysa, except for Vardis Egan, who gets brawned by Bronn. Yeah, Bronn brawns him. He pushes that statue on him, and he's like, you've been brawned. Right? That's the scene. That's how it happens. I think that's how it happens. And also, Vargas doesn't try to do it, right? They're all asking to do it before they know that they're not going to fight Tyrion. And then Vardis is the only one who isn't making any noise. And then Lysa's like, Egan, how come you're not saying anything? And he's like, I don't want to fight. There's no honor in beating up Tyrion. You can just knock him over. Look at him. And then he's like, I'll get a champion. And Vargas Egan's like, okay. I wonder if there was a whole other reason why, he didn't want to fight for Lysa, maybe. I don't know. No one ever talks about that. Following Bronn's statue-smashing victory in the trial, Lyn escorts Tyrion and Bronn to the Bloody Gate, where he commands them to never come back to the Vale. There's the gate. F off. Lyn Corbray. Deuces. Kicks him over. Bronn, I could have totally fought you. That would have been a good fight. That would have been a good fight. Lord Declarant. The Lord's Declarant. Lysa Arryn weds Petyr Balish at the fingers. Then Lysa grants her new husband the title of Lord Protector of the Vale. But many Valemen resent Petyr for his new position because he's lowborn and stuff. And Lysa for refused having refused to aid her nephew, Robb Stark. Yeah, even people in the Vale are like, how come we're not joining the war? And she's like, I'm keeping the Knights of the Vale in the Vale. And they're like, but there's a war out there. This is the Lannisters. Kind of stink. Keeping you guys. Why? Man, there's got to be an army left in the late books, Liza said. When I'm dead, the Vale finally joins the war. You're going to be really happy that I kept you guys back. Oh, man. She read the books. That's why Liza knew. Back at the Eyrie, Liza angrily confronts her niece about kissing her crappy husband. Did you kiss my crappy husband? He kissed me. That's the same thing. No, it isn't. Mecha fly. Then Petyr tosses her to her death through the moon door. Petyr passes the blame on the singer Marillion and has Sansa pretend to be his bastard daughter, Elaine Stone. Well, she was already pretending at that point. I just made a Marillion video, came out a couple days ago. Go check it out. These overlap a tad, not a lot, a tad. It's like this much, all right? It's not a lot. They don't overlap too much. All the Vale stuff, like if they're Vale characters, they're going to overlap a little bit. Led by Nestor's cousin, Bronzian, hashtag my favorite Royce, 6 lords of the Vale meet at Runestone and announce their intent to remove Petyr as the Lord Protector of the Vale by any means necessary. After some time of denying access in food and other goods outside of the Eyrie, the Lords Declarant negotiate a meeting and arrive with Sir Lyn Corbray. So he's not part of the Lord Declarant. Lyn isn't a Lord Declarant, but he's like joining them, like showing his support to them, right? You give it, you know what I mean? Wink. All right, where was I? So they're starving them out, no food and stuff. And then, they say, hey, let's go do it. With Lyn Corbray to confront Petyr with their objections to his rule and their insistence at taking Lord Robert Arryn away from them. They want to go steal them a sweet Robin. So they send out a letter that's their declarant, right? Like a maester writes it up and all of them sign it. And it says, like, we want to keep Robert safe and we want control of the Vale and we want to keep Robert away from, I think I say it later, but it's like bad advisors, right? Like, and they don't say Petyr Balish, but they like hint at like, he's got bad birds on his shoulder, dude. And it comes up later. Okay. Parlay with Petyr. That's 2 P's, by the way. Almost double alliteration, but I put with in there. Parlay Petyr with. Sansa, now completely in her role of Elaine Stone, wakes up one morning in the Eyrie. Nice typo, past Mark. It's okay. Present Mark, just deal with it. Sweet Robin Arryn refuses to eat as Littlefinger arrives and announces that the Lords Declarant are coming up the mountain with Nestor and Lyn. So yeah, Nestor and Lyn are not part of the Lords Declarant, but Nestor has already dealt with Petyr, so maybe they're letting him come with, and for that, and maybe it's like Petyr really wanted him to be there because he's kind of got like a man. We'll talk about why Lyn's there in a minute. I don't know why I said it that way. Where was I? Petyr says, Lyn isn't the sort of man to stay away from blood when blood is in the offering. So that's everyone's like excuse of why Lyn's with. So the Lord's Declarant's like, why does Lyn want to come with? He thinks there might be killing and fighting and he wants to be part of it. Oh yeah, the guy's sick like that. They buy it. Even though they know that they're gonna like be under guest right and they shouldn't attack, but they're still like, yeah, we'll bring the loose cannon with. He has no reason to be with except for the fact he loves fighting. Bring him with. Come on, man. We all had that friend in high school who always picked fights, and eventually you stopped hanging out with him. I'm just saying, unless you are him, and that's why no one hangs out with you. Sansa is frightened by Lyn's reputation. If even half of what Sansa heard about the Lord Robert's guards from Lord Robert's guards are true, Lyn was more dangerous than the other 6 Lord Declarants combined. Yeah, that's That's what she's like, dude. If the reputation I've heard about Lyn is true, like he quays. All right. Where were we? Sweet Robin complains about Lyn and says he doesn't like him. All right, that's it, guys. Sweet Robin doesn't like him. That's decided. Boot him out. Lyn arrives with the Lords Declarant to their parley with Lord Petyr Balish and Robert Arryn at the Eyrie. Petyr meets them in the Solar instead of the High Hall as they wait to be led to the Solar. Sansa fills their drinks and studies them. He checks them out, right? She noticed that Lyn is the youngest in the group, and with his sigil on his chest, and he has a hard mouth and restless eyes. He's young, hard, and restless. His mouth is hard. Wait, that doesn't sound good either. When Lyn makes a lewd comment about Sansa being unflowered, Lyn, Lady Waynwood scorns him, and they like kind of bicker for a little bit. She's like, "Stop being gross." He's like, "You stop being gross." That's straight up from there. Then Sansa finally leads them to the Solar. All right, let's get to the reason we're here, because this scene is so good. The lords all sat at the long table, except for Lyn, who stands by the hearth. Yeah, he's so cool. He's like, "You guys sit there. I'm going to brew by the fire." Oh my god, he's so friggin' cool! All right. No one's gonna get that reference. So he's watching the fire with Lady Forlorn. Me and my really cool sword are gonna stand here by the fire. When Petyr begins to talk about the declaration, saying that he wants to sign and pretends he doesn't know who the false friends are. Yeah, it's actually really funny. Petyr's like, "Oh man, I wish you guys let me sign." And they're like, "What? What?" He's like, "Yeah. I mean, if Robin has false friends and bad counselors, I want to get rid of them too." And they're like, "We're talking about you." He's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Oh, Petyr, you're funny. All right. Where was I? Yeah. Lyn laughs at Petyr like, "Oh, me?" Yeah, Lyn finds it funny. They went on arguing pretty bluntly. It's like, dude, we're talking about you. I know you're talking about me, Bronze. Bronze Yana wanting to foster Robin at Runestone, and he's like, "I got a really good, guy to take care of, blah blah." It drags on and on and on, arguing over foster kids and Harry the heir. It's like, all right, I mean, you could send people up here to take care of him. Maybe a good heir, maybe Harry. And Waynwood's like, "Bro, we're not sending you the heir to the Vale, yeah, butt." And at that point, you don't know who Harry the heir is. So you're like, why is he asking for Harry the heir? He's not even just Harry. Harry Harding, and then it's like, and why is Lady Forlorn like, "You overstepped, sir"? It's like, what's with this heir? You find out later on. He's the heir of Aaron, Aaron, the good old hair of Aaron. All right, Harry there, and sending Petyr away. They're like, "Dude, we want you to leave," and he's like, "I want Harry there." No, you really gotta leave. During the parlay, as it gets longer and longer, Lyn says, "All this talk makes me ill. Littlefinger will talk you out of your small clothes if you listen long enough." He's not wrong. "The only way to settle his sort is with steel." And then he takes out Lady Forlorn. They already ate food, by the way, right? They're protected in guest right. I know guest right don't mean what it used to mean, right? But it means something. In the Vale, it does. So he's like, "Thanks for your salt and bread." They're like, "No, you didn't ruin it all." So he takes out Lady Forlorn, violating laws of hospitality. When Petyr holds out his hands, like, doesn't have a sword, right? Lyn tells him that he can get one from his guard, Luther Apple Eater. He's like, "Yeah, take one of Luther Bruin's swords." Luther then moves to intercept with his sword rod. He's like, "You want my sword? I'll take care of this." But the other Lord Declarants tell Lyn to put up his sword. "No, you put your sword away. The Apple Eater will put his away." he explains that Lady Forlorn has a thirst for blood and apple cider. Lyn leaves the parlay shortly thereafter, insulting them, right? And now they're with their honor in question. Thanks to Lyn, the rest of the lords eventually make, I'm summing it up quick, eventually make a deal with Petyr. So what happened there, right? Did you guys follow all that? So they're like, hey, we have pretty legit beefs. And Petyr's like, beefs? It's like, no. It's like, all right, fine. Yeah, you have legit beefs. Give me more power. No, we're going to take away your power. And then as they're like getting to a standstill and like it doesn't look like it's getting anywhere, Lyn's like, I'm bored, and whips out his sword. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And they're like, you know how if you're debating with somebody and it's like a political debate and you feel like you're doing pretty good, and the other guy's kind of doing good, and you're arguing your points and no one's getting angry, right? You're staying civil, and then the guy who's is with you politically just jumps in and makes like a crazy accusation, and you're like, thanks, now we all look like idiots. Like, no, don't be. I'm glad you're on my side, but don't be on my side right now. That's what happened there. But is it? Because Littlefinger's man? Well, later, Petyr admits to Sansa that Lyn is in his employ. Yes, and it is his task to feign hatred for Petyr and to join every conspiracy against him and inform on him. Genius! I love it. Petyr states that Lyn's price is gold and boys. Yeah, we'll get to it. And promises, saying that he likes his gold and his boys and his killing. We'll get to it. So this next little bit's from Winds of Winter. It's from some sample chapters, Elaine sample chapters. So keep that in mind, that this is Winds. So maybe when the book eventually comes out, right, it might change a little bit, right? Or maybe some of the chapters get reworked. So grain of salt. Okay, cool. The idea for the order of winged knights is first suggested by Elaine Stone, or Sansa, after she notices that young Lord Robert Arryn is always comforted when she reads him tales of his legendary ancestor Sir Artus Arryn, the winged knight. This gives her the idea that perhaps he would be comforted if he were surrounded by his own bodyguards of winged knights, as the young Lord of the Eyrie does not feel safe. Lord Petyr Balish, regent for Robert, of course, likes this idea and immediately sets a plan in motion to form the order. So, order. The Brotherhood of Winged Knights are to contain 8 members. Well, Elaine originally suggests 7, like the King's Guard. Robert feels he should have 1 more than King Tom. I want more than Tom. And so the number is increased to 8 as well. That's pretty funny. The members of the Brotherhood will serve Robert for 3 years each. Prior to the tourney for the Brotherhood of Winged Knights. So now they're tossing it. They're putting together a tourney to figure out. Don't worry, this will get back to Lyn. To figure out who the Brotherhood of the Winged Knights is going to be at the Gates of the Moon. Sir Lyn knocks down Sir Owen during a practice match. And then Sansa notes that Lyn is upset that Petyr married his older brother Lyonel to some merchant's daughter who is now pregnant, taking away Lyn's inheritance. Wow. And then here we go. As every Vale character ends with Miranda Royce saying something. The buxom. Why did I leave him buxom? Why is it important that Miranda Royce is buxom? Japes that Lyn would not be interested in her because of her gender. Why did I leave the buxom part in? All right, that's really funny. It's can't talk about Miranda without bringing that up. All right. Theories. Lyn is a fan favorite for a reason, because he's so cool. The first things first, it's up to you how you interpret what Petyr means when he said Lyn likes, quote, boys, right? Because he says boys in gold. The age is unclear because he's saying boys. It is unknown if he is homosexual or a word I'm not going to use here on YouTube, right? Starts with a B. You guys know what I'm talking about. When asked about this, Elio Garcia agreed that the currently available information is too little to tell one way or the other. So not George, but it's pretty close to George. They're like, hey, so what's with Lyn Corbray's sexuality? And he goes, it's not clear. Sorry. Like, boys can just be meaning boys and girls, males, boys, man, you know, and that he's gay. Or it can mean younger boys, which of course is a completely different thing, and it changes everything, right? Is Petyr just, you know, gay dude that likes killing, or is he a monster? You know, that's the line there. And I wish it was clear, because it really depends on what you believe. I think he's an adult man. Like, I think he's gay, but I don't have anything to go off of. I hope he's not the other thing, right? So it's kind of up to you how you choose to interpret. If you start telling anybody that they're wrong, I'm sorry, we don't know. It's however you choose to interpret that line. Nobody's right or wrong here, because it's kind of like a Schrodinger's cat situation. So that's all I want to talk about for that. I got more stuff to bring up, but yeah, I want to bring that up because you kind of have to when you talk about Lyn Corbray. Okay, besides that topic, I've seen a Reddit post by Del994 asking what his role in the future would be, thinking that Lyn might turn on Littlefinger. Very possible. Also, I've seen some posts of how he should have been chosen to fight Bronn, but I think that's just because it would be an awesome fight. Yeah, it would just be an awesome fight. Everybody just wants to see that fight. And I do too. It would be a great fight. Okay, that's all I got, guys. Lyn Corbray, done. That's a big character I just gave it to you today. Here, I covered Lyn Corbray. Now back to characters that people don't know. Every once in a while, I gotta give you a big character. Every once in a while. I'll give you Miranda Royce, like, next year. She is on the list. I'm pretty sure she's the first character I'm going to cover in 2025. If my math and counting. Yeah, dude, my list is long. All right. Thank you, guys. What do you think of Lyn? Do you think he's a great character? Or do you just think he's overrated? It's like, why does everybody love Lyn Corbray? And do you just... Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, that's it. Peace.